I think probably I know about 75-80% of those of you here today. For those I haven't had the privilege of meeting, my name's Harvey Deegan, and I'm very privileged to be your celebrant today for Max's service in conjunction with Alistair Lyon from Perth Funerals, Perth and Chipper Funerals. All of us here and many others have had our lives influenced in one way or another by Max. Now what that really means is that each and every one of us is going to miss him in our own very special and individual way. Of course, for one reason or another, there are those who cannot join us today, but we do know that they're with us in spirit and would be thinking of us at this hour. I'd like to thank Betty and her family for their time a few days ago when we sat down to discuss today's service. I'll shortly give you an overview of Max's life, and then son Rod is going to come forward with a tribute. Then we'll have a visual tribute that Rod's brother Terry has put together, and I know that will bring back many more happy memories of Max for all of us here today. I was privileged to work with Max during the 70s and 80s at Channel 7, and it is so nice, so gratifying to see so many people from that era and others with us today. Television, in fact the media in general, can be quite stressful, as most of you know. I always found Max to be the calming influence in any storm that might break out. Max was one of those who was quick to identify any problems that might crop up, and more often than not, he was able to nip them in the bud. One of his great strengths was his meticulous attention to detail. Max left nothing to chance. He certainly was a charismatic individual. I think it's fair to say he overdosed on suave. We all remember Max the musician, Max the TV executive, but there was a lot more to him than that, and I thought I knew Max fairly well, but there were stories that flowed from my meeting with Betty and family that showed just what a diverse character he was, and I'm now delighted to be able to present the whole Max Bostock story. Incidentally, most of the music that you're hearing today is being played by Max himself. Maxwell Arthur Bostock came into the world in the Melbourne suburb of Northcote on the 22nd of July 1927, the only child of Arthur and Carla Bostock. Max attended a local school called West Garth Central that had been established 3 years before he was born. Max's schooling took place during the years after Wall Street collapsed and the effects of the Great Depression were still being felt worldwide. The school's classrooms were minimally heated. The teachers' desks occupied the space closest to the fireplace, and wealthier families were often asked to bring an extra lunch for those less fortunate. Max's parents operated a very large hay and corn store, but decided to expand at the wrong time, and they lost the lot in the Depression. They moved into accommodation above a cake shop that was operated by friends. Luckily, Max was still able to develop his love for music. He learned the piano at the age of 7. He later trained as a classical pianist and became a professional musician at the age of 15. Returning to Max's school days, there was another pupil at West Garth Central, a cute young girl by the name of Betty Hyde. But as they were in different classes, neither realised at that point the other existed. Betty first noticed Max as he was riding a horse in the neighbourhood. Apparently he used to do this from time to time. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the location, Northcote is a suburb of Melbourne, 7 kilometres to the north, and in the 20s was a vastly different suburb, of course, to what it is now. Not many horses in Northcote these days. Still, those of us who knew Max may still struggle with the vision of Max Bostock on a horse. Max and Betty got to know one another in their mid-teens through Betty's involvement with the local church. She was producing a 3-act play for the church's club and was casting around for a pianist who could play some music between the acts. Someone said, "What about young Max Bostock? He can play the piano pretty well." Max was hired The play went ahead and was apparently quite successful. Now, never one to let an opportunity slip, Max offered to walk Betty home, and she accepted. And that was the start of a love story spanning 76 years. Max and Betty were both 21 years old when they married on the 6th of November 1948. Melbourne Cup Day, just this week, 3 days ago, would have been their 70th wedding anniversary. At the time, Max was working for Australian National Airways, ANA, by day and playing music by night. The benefit of working for an airline meant that Max and Betty were able to take advantage of a free trip to Sydney for their honeymoon. After ANA, Max and two muso mates, a drummer and a saxophonist, bought a van, so they became furniture removalists by day and again musicians by night. The trio played at the Northcote Town Hall while Betty helped out selling the tickets. Max created a big band that became well known on radio and on the stage in Melbourne and Sydney. He did a weekly national radio program on 3DB called The Happy Gang. Because of the prevailing economic times, Max was one of those affected when promoters could no longer afford the big bands, and they were gradually replaced by smaller groups. As always, Max adapted to the changing situation. When television arrived in Australia in 1956, it opened up a brand new world for Max. He did many musical arrangements for stage performers and for TV shows such as The Late Late Show with Bert Newton and In Melbourne Tonight with Graham Kennedy. A visit to Perth in 1960 changed Max and Betty Bostock's lives forever. He had come here to work on a show and was offered a job at TVW 7 by Joint Managing Director Brian Treasure. Channel 7 in Perth had started transmissions the year before in 1959, and Max relished the challenge to join a brand new operation where everyone was on a learning curve and enjoying the family atmosphere that did prevail in those days. Max started at 7 as musical director on the Tuesday date and Saturday Showtime series. During a most successful career, Max was at one time or another musical director, producer, production manager, station manager, general manager, chief executive officer and associate director. He was awarded an MBE in 1980, richly deserved, but an accolade that embarrassed him somewhat as he was never ever comfortable in the glare of the spotlight. Max kept the show business contacts he'd made in the East, and he brought many, such as Dorothy Baker, Frankie Davidson and Dick Richards, to Perth. Max was an integral part of locally produced shows such as Teen Beat and Club 17, hosted by Gary Carville. It's great to see Gary here today. Max also produced the musical elements of In Perth Tonight, Invitation to the Dance, and the production and direction of Coralie Condon's musical comedy The Good Oil, starring Jill Perryman and Kevin Johnston. Max also played a key role in setting up Telethon, which, as we all know, has just celebrated its 50th anniversary. Max travelled to the United States to research the successful telethons hosted by comedian Jerry Lewis, and he adapted many of the best American ideas to suit the local version. Clearly, Max's approach worked. He was invited to New Zealand to produce their first telethon, and later, after having left TVW, Max produced the National Olympiathon from Sydney to raise funds for the 1984 Olympics. Max was instrumental in enticing legendary American entertainer Bob Hope to come to Perth. Max and his colleagues had devised a clever scheme to attract top world acts to Perth that would otherwise be well outside their budget. They targeted a few stars with hobbies in areas where they could be offered something special in Australia in lieu of money. Most of the stars ignored the request, but Bob Hope was lured by the promise of a golfing holiday with some of the top professional players. Hope also seized the opportunity to use the visit to produce one of his annual NBC specials, which he called Bob Hope Down Under. Max flew to Los Angeles to meet with Hope and his management team, armed with a letter from the then Premier Sir Charles Court, and the deal was done. Max oversaw most TVW productions in his time there, including the Birdman Rally, the Milk Carton Regatta, the many Christmas pageants, the grand opening of the Entertainment Centre, the 1980 World Professional Ballroom Dancing Championships, Disney on Parade, the grandest of all, the 1979 Miss Universe Pageant. Unfortunately, as we know, the stage collapsed after the crowning gained most of the media attention. It's fair to say that if Max himself had built the stage, it would never have fallen down. In case you think I'm joking, one of Max's great skills was that of a handyman, and I'll give you a specific example of that just a little bit later. With the Christmas pageant, Max had flown to Adelaide, conscious that they had had such an event there since the 1930s. He brought the idea back to Perth. The Channel 7 pageant has been a fixture here since the early 70s. After resigning from TVW, Max was sent to Los Angeles to produce the Australian opening program to the 1984 Olympic Games from LA. However, this was interrupted when he was sent an airline ticket and asked to attend a meeting with Rupert Murdoch on a flight between San Francisco and Boston. He accepted Rupert's offer of the position of Executive Director of Network 10, responsible for Melbourne and Sydney TV stations, several radio stations and a production company. Max retired from media in 1986 to become National Fundraising Director for the Australian Olympic Federation until 1998. It was mentioned earlier that one of Max's little-known talents was that of a handyman. Well, in retirement, Max and Betty bought a 5-acre hobby farm at Bedfordale, where they stayed for about 6 or 7 years. Max bought himself a tractor and a pole digger, and by himself fenced the whole property, and it was a very professional job. Max was also quite a competent mechanic. He was quite comfortable under the bonnet of the family car. Another example of Max's handiwork was his ability to work with wood. He carved many walking sticks for his grandchildren to use for bushwalking. Max himself loved walking, often with his beloved Buffy, and while he used to ride a horse in his youth, in later life, Max bought himself a mountain bike, and he was still riding that in his 70s. Max and Betty moved from Bedfordale to canal living in Mandurah, and they bought a boat. That was, in a way, a somewhat curious decision because Max could never swim. He detested the ocean, and he could scarcely abide the family pool when they were living in City Beach. There is a reason for this. Max's mother had a friend who had a link to a fortune teller in South Africa who told her certain things that happened to be true. So, credibility thus established, the fortune teller went on to issue a chilling warning: never let Max enter the water. Clearly, Carla Bostock heeded the warning, and so too it would seem did Max. Seemingly comfortable on top of the water, if not in it, Max bought a speedboat, and that may seem a little strange also, given the speed restrictions along the Mandurah canals. He later upgraded to a more sedate pontoon boat and mixed recreational boating with duties as a member of Neighbourhood Watch. The residents of Mandurah could breathe a little easier knowing Captain Bostock was plying the waterways of the district. Max and family often sailed to the Dawesville Cut and they went crabbing. After Mandurah, Max and Betty spent some time at Dunsborough, then Broadwater at Bustleton, and more recently at Parkland Villas Retirement Village in Ellenbrook. As mentioned, Max and Betty were together for 3/4 of a century. What a shining example they have been to their children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren. The marriage was blessed with children Gary, Ross who's passed, Terry and Rod. Their sons introduced much-loved daughters-in-law Josie, May and Sue into the Bostock family. Max and Betty became grandpa and grandma to Jay, James, Ebony, Kane, James, Alicia, Madison and Max. There are also 7 great-grandchildren: Rocky, Kayla, Isabella, Riley, Stella, Aidan and Ava. No doubt Max led a long and a very productive life. His was truly a success story. However, nobody's perfect. And we'll end the eulogy by talking briefly about Max the businessman. Brief, because that's exactly what happened. In the early 50s, Max and some of his associates decided to become rabbit farmers. Now again, those of us who knew Max as someone probably incapable of hurting a fly, let alone bringing about an early demise of even one rabbit, will find this hard to believe. But Max saw a great business opportunity, and in typical fashion, he meticulously planned the venture. He dotted every I, he crossed every T. Realising that rabbits would need to be wrapped up in something to convey them to market, Max decided that butcher's paper, white paper, that was the way to go. And of course, the more of it you buy, then the cheaper it is per sheet. So Max soon became the proud owner of a truckload of the paper. Now, I mentioned that this was in the 50s, and history buffs may recall that that was when Australia was hit with the scourge of myxomatosis. It was a virus introduced into Australia to control the rabbit population and was devastatingly effective, wiping out more than 80% of the rabbit population. That was the end of the Bostock rabbit production empire. Perhaps the scientists of the day could have renamed the virus myxomatosis. Incidentally, if anyone's looking for a large quantity of white paper, make sure you catch up with Betty at the end of the service. Today we do salute a life well lived. Reluctantly, we accept Max's passing, and we do cherish the many, many memories that he leaves behind.